Evolve, Infinity Chapter 2. Knowing and loving yourself. Knowing yourself may be just what you need to get you through the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs, all the letdowns, the sadness, the depression, the anxiety, and the stresses of life. In many ways we are all our own best friends. Which is comforting, because when you're alone, you really are not. You're not alone, because of an extra presence that is with you no matter what. That presence can manifest itself in many different forms, such as your conscience, your will, your passion, your heart, and your soul. You are a human being, not a robot. Others cannot program you, shut you down, or reboot you. Only you can do that. Knowing who you are as a person is a gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It is also a protector. Self-assurance will protect you when you're alone. When you're outnumbered. When you're in your darkest hours. You won't be alone, because you are you. And you will never be alone, as long as you know and love yourself. As crazy as it may sound, ultimately, the only person you really can depend on is yourself. No one can let you down more than you can let yourself down. No one knows you better than yourself. And no one will ever make you happier than you can make yourself. No one could make you as proud as you can yourself. We all would love to have someone in our lives that understood us completely. Unfortunately, there's a rare group of people out in the world that actually have found that person. The rest of us have to deal with what we have, which in the end, is simply ourselves. Our lives. Our souls. We face the consequences of the choices we make in life alone. When someone looks at you, judges you, and expects you to do everything for them, yet give nothing in return, that can be very painful. Nothing hurts worse than being let down by the ones you love. The ones you thought you depended on. So, we protect ourselves, with ourselves. We turn our souls into shields. We turn our words into weapons. And we turn our actions into events. When we are alone, and our backs are against the wall, any outbursts of anger can all be seen as a childish, ignorant, selfish act. But in reality we are just asking for help. We're just asking for someone to listen to us. There's no justification in hurting others, destroying property, or abandoning your responsibilities. But there is also no justification in being left alone, by the ones we love, care for and depend on unconditionally. Time is like a hand holding us tightly by the throats. Even though time has a way of making life seem short, it is in my experience that life is actually longer than we perceive it to be. Sometimes too long, for some. For others it couldn't be long enough. Because the longer we live, the more we learn. And the longer we live, the more we learn about ourselves. We learn over time, through all the complexities of life, who we really are in our darkest hours, and our brightest days. We can either learn to love or hate ourselves. Although it seems like other people influence who we are, ultimately, it is we, ourselves, that matters most to ourselves. It sounds selfish, but it's a part of survival. It is not enough for you to be just a human being. At least not to other people. The expectations we place upon ourselves are far greater than expectations placed on us from others. Whether they know us or not, in the end, all the pressure is on us as individuals, to know and love ourselves, so that others know it is okay for them to do the same. It's easy to say, but it's reality. Even the most evil, cruel, despicable people in the world, have the ability, if they know and love themselves, to get others to do so. It's like gravity, it has no control over what is drawn to it, yet never loses its ability to perform its purpose, regardless if people understand its purpose or not. However, just because someone is drawn to you, doesn't mean that attraction lasts forever. Once people see you for who you are, truly, they're either going to abandon or remain in your life. So even though you may believe you know and love yourself, that doesn't mean your soul is parallel to that feeling. Loving others is a difficult task in itself, especially if you don't know who they are, their intentions, their background, their purpose. And in many ways it's even harder to love yourself fully. Because we are always our own worst critics. We believe who all we are is final. That there's no room for growth. That others don't expect anything out of us, so why should we? The answer is simple. Because there is no excuse not to be a good person. No valid excuse to overcome the challenges you put upon yourself, to reach your goals, to be the best version of yourself. Sure, we can make excuses, especially after mistakes, losses, and failures. But what would that leave us? It would only leave you with more complications than you had before you began the journey of not being the best version of yourself. It's far more complicated and challenging to get people to love you than it is to get people to hate you. But that is why the reward of love is so great. Because it's not easy to obtain, to keep, or to let go of. Knowing yourself is not something that you should think lightly of. It is not something you should discard as some irrelevant piece of your life. There's nothing greater than knowing yourself and loving yourself. It's so rare, in fact, that when others recognize that you do know and love yourself, they may attempt to tear you down. To change who you are. To make sure you're not able to look yourself in the mirror and be proud of your reflection as you look into your own eyes, and them back at you. Being your own best friend, sometimes, can be very beneficial. Because you are looking out for your own best interest, and not relying on others to understand who you are, what your purpose is, and how you should live your life. It's up to you because it's your life. And no one has the right to make you feel less than what you are, no matter what they perceive you to be, or what they expect you to be. You are in control of your life. Your actions, decisions, and awareness that life is hard, challenging, and relentless in its obstacles to deter you from being the best person you can be, is all part of the journey. Every morning the sun rises, and you wake to it, not knowing what the day may bring, because there are so many things you are not in control of throughout the day. Like the sun rises, your confidence in yourself should too. Your confidence in yourself as it pertains to knowing yourself and loving yourself, are all the tools you need, all the protection you need, to ensure you have the opportunity to becoming the best version of yourself. So you too, can look yourself in the mirror, and see a well-rounded, self-knowing, loving individual. You can't buy it in the store. You can't borrow it from a friend. You can't find it in the field. And you can't escape it. You have to embrace it. Life. Yourself. Love. You have to evolve.